It's a Thanksgiving football special of the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara. Oh, you need fantasy football help, people. The turnaround is quick. It's coming Thursday. There's 3 games. Week 13 is here. We survived by Mageddon, and it's on. Got some bets for you, too. Of course, a little Browns talk. Let's get to the show.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara, the sickest Cleveland Browns podcast.
Chubb runs, he's to the 10, 15, he's to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. There goes Chubb, he's to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Shabba-lubba-hub.
It's gonna be sick.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving week. Yes, it's already here. It was yesterday we were talking about who to draft in our fantasy leagues, and now we're entering week 13. Boy. Well, I hope everyone is getting ready for a nice, safe, fun holiday. The football games, the first two look a little spotty, but you know, we'll survive that. Black Friday shopping, holidays right around the corner, of course. And I'm still getting as a Browns fan to enjoy the beating we put on the Pittsburgh Steelers, the snow globe game. It feels like forever. I'm still happy. I can't remember this consecutive that I've been happy as a Browns fan after a game. It's great because the Browns don't play till next Monday. Now that's going to be in Denver. In my mood, I anticipate that changing relatively quickly. But until then, we're going to keep riding it. We're going to keep feeling good. Now, a note. The Browns-Bengals game got flexed from December 19th to the 22nd. Probably a good move by the NFL. Take that one out of prime time. So that's a change. Cedric Tillman is in concussion protocol still for the Browns. So that's something we got to track. It is, again, we get the extra day. So maybe he can play. That would be quite useful against that Denver defense. And still no update on JOK and that neck injury. Technically, he's able to come off of the injured reserve after the Denver game. So Kevin Stefanski promised an update then, but it's not looking good. So we'll keep an eye on everything there. But other than that, we're feeling good. Oh, yeah, Jed Wills still can't practice on that bum knee. That is the longest arthroscopic knee. I had arthroscopic knee surgery. Now I have about 250 pounds, probably less than Jed Wills weighs on the knee, granted. But I had that years ago. I wasn't out for a year. This injury's keeping him out for almost a year. It's incredible. He's going to be gone anyway. Whatever. Steelers suck. We still won. It's feeling good. We're going to talk a lot of fantasy football today, folks. Okay, so make sure you are clicking subscribe, notifications on, jump in the chat, leave your questions there, and of course, use hashtag AskAndy to get those fantasy questions and betting questions in on social media, on X, at SickPodBrowns, at AndyMC81, and Instagram and TikTok, at AndyMCSports. So to help me with this Thanksgiving feast of fantasy football goodness, I got a special guest. We're going out west. We're bringing in LaQuan Jones, who is with the NFL Network and also is hosting a Ram show right here on the Sick Media Network. LaQuan,
hey, let's go, man. Thank you for the invite, bro. Sick. I love how you go into it with the energy. Like, I'm glad to be here to match that energy.
Yes.
Talk about some Browns, bro.
Let's do it, man. Well, pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much. Very excited to have you on with us. And it's a case where this is the crunch time, of course, of the fantasy football season, right? And we had those 16 buys. More buys are coming, and we're right in the meat of it. And the turnaround is so quick. Like, you can't enjoy whether you won or lost yet that past week of fantasy, right? Like, we got to get things moving.
Oh, yeah. It's stack the wins, stack the W's. Like, once I win, I'm past that week. I'm looking to next. Or even if it's Sunday night and I know my games are done, I'm already setting lineups for the next week. Like, that's how we're operating. Tis the season. The playoffs are here, people. Let's make these decisions count.
Yeah, it is. The fantasy playoffs are almost here. And when we look at this waiver wire situation, and especially during the bye week, it was near death. So it sounds like you're like me. You get the prep going early and looking. I got to tell you, man, if you're in running back, need of running back help, which I am in one of my leagues, this is not good. Did you got any running backs you like this week? This is dicey.
Like, here's the funny thing about the waiver. So, like, you're getting some high end, like, handcuffs falling on the waiver wire. Like, I saw Ray Davis fall out there. I saw Trey Benson. I saw Jordan Mays. These are names that are guys are like, okay, Tajay Spears, like another name where it's like they're one injury away from a lot of fantasy points.
Right,
And
right.
every single week can change on the drop of a dime. Like Javontavian Sanders, he was my biggest like tight end sleeper for the next couple of weeks to fill in for these guys like Dalton Kincaid that had a bye last week, and guys that like Kyle Pitts, like, and then he gets hurt. So we're back to square one. We're back to square one, bro.
I was with you too on him with Sanders. I had him too, and then it's like, come on.
Yeah. So like it just shows you like every single week like can change. So like when you see some of these high-end like handcuffs, like I know the fantasy streets are disgusting right now when they're trying to get a running back to help the same week, but if I'm gonna get some ammo of like just having some reinforcements on the bench, those are the names that I would like jot down if you're looking for a running back.
Yeah, it's true. You have to keep stacking. And unfortunately, what happens sometimes you wait on the handcuff, and sometimes it never happens. But it's there.
That's part of the game. But I sleep better at night knowing I have Trey Benson, where I know Kyler Murray and this Cardinals offense is going to be electric. I love having the safeguard in my head if anything happens to James Cook. We already saw flashes of how damn good Ray Davis could be. So it's like these are things that help me sleep better at night, knowing I have this ammo on my bench. And when they're ready to go, I know they're going to show up and show out when I need them.
And I loved Ray Davis coming out of the draft, and certainly dynasty-wise, I think he's going to be a stud. And you're right. The best handcuffs are ones that show you a little fantasy, give you a little fantasy help along the way. And a perfect example that has elevated to an extreme was start of the year. It's like, let's grab Bucky Irving. Well, that's worked out pretty damn well. I'm starting both Bucks running backs. I got Rashad White. I got Bucky. I got Kate Otten going. I'm all bucked up here, man.
Ain't that crazy? Once upon a time, we were starting Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, and like it feels exactly like that. And I'm okay with that. I'm buying into all that.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the thunder and lightning there. Another running back to maybe look at, and it's again, we're talking like you're in some trouble and you need some help. How about a little taste of Jeremy McNichols for the Commanders? 99% availability across most leagues with. You got Brian Robinson and Eckler both banged up. Like that could be the type of move you get where, to your point, guy pops in, can get some points.
Yeah, he's like more of a 1 week rental. You know, you hope that, Eckler clears concussion protocol and he's back on his feet as soon as possible. Brian Robinson, I mean, look, the guy's been, shot. He's been hamstring, knees, and he's broken at this point, ankles. And like he's still going out there in the body cast somehow, putting up some yards. So it's like Jerry McNichols is going to be like a 1 week rental for me because those guys are definitely going to come back. But this week, I can trust him if I'm in a desperate spot where I'm like down low and I'm down bad and I need a running back. He's also another guy earlier this season that showed us some spark. Showed us that he could be involved in the passing game as well and be effective in between the tackles. These are things that matter. So the 99% availability, that's going to change very soon. Like people are desperate. Like when I mean people are desperate right now, there's too many teams out there that are like, 6-5, 5-6, and like in between, like where you're right there on the cusp of reaching that playoff spot to get into that seed. So I get it.
Yeah, and if you're exactly, and it comes down to that with those 1 or 2 wins always. Another guy, and this is somebody unlike who has flashed with some of the other names that we've presented here, Gus Edwards of the Chargers. We saw J.K. Dobbins. I hope J.K.'s gone through so much, and what a year. I hope it's not he doesn't keep him out. But Gus Edwards has done nothing. He's given us zip. But again, it's a case where we know the Chargers love to run the ball. They've established that. And so Gus Edwards, I'm looking right now, 26% rostered. Might be worth a play.
Definitely worth a play, worth a pickup, but I will also watch for those other guys, Haskins and Vidal. Like those are the guys that you just have to have on your watch list. And Vidal, you kind of like you feel discouraged because he was inactive that game. You feel discouraged because when he did get his opportunity, they really let JK kind of just run with it. And now we don't know the status of JK. We don't know if he's going to be back, anytime soon, but Gus Edwards, he's a guy that you could rely on with a safe floor where he's going to get the red zone goal line looks. But for an overall productive standpoint, I think we get a little bit more of Justin Herbert running now. We might get those young guys, sprinkled in between Gus Edwards touches. So Gus Edwards would literally be a guy like, look, man, I need a flex, I need an RB2 this week, with some type of like touchdown upside. Like he might give you like 25 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm okay with that. Okay, got a guy on by and hurt,
Yeah, exactly. We'll take that. For me, my gauge of like a desperation flex play, if you hit double-digit fantasy point numbers at all, even 10, I consider that a success.
Dude, I'm not even that greedy. Give me 9. I'm like, all right, man. You tried your best. You were right there. You know, like I'm not greedy, bro. Just go out there and don't put up a dud. Don't put up 4 points. Like that will be very, very bad because at that point it's like, all right, it's a wash.
Yeah, it's a total waste. Let's talk a little Browns here. They play the Denver Broncos out in Denver, a place where it's been a house of horrors for Cleveland since the 80s. They've seriously won like one time since the 80s. It's wild. They've lost a bit. It's terrible out there. The Broncos are playing better, but we talk about opportunities with injuries. If Cedric Tillman doesn't play, maybe a little Elijah Moore for Cleveland in a PPR situation. He's been showing up a little bit with Jameis Winston.
Absolutely. He's always been like one of those guys that you hoped that they find the right system for him to really develop and kind of just blossom. And like right now we have the perfect storm. And I say it's a storm. You know, I love Jameis Winston, but Jameis Winston ain't going to win you guys some games. It's more so you like it for fantasy, how aggressive he's going to be downfield, how many times a game he's going to go out there and chuck it up to give his wide receivers opportunity. He thinks every single one of those guys in that wide receiver room are Mike Evans, how he's throwing the ball to them. And that's what you want because he trusts in these young guys. He's trusting into Elijah Moore, who we could say is a veteran at this point now. Mm-hmm. And Jerry freaking Jeudy. Oh my God. What an accusation. All he needed was a quarterback.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew? A guy who could throw in the ball.
Yes. And I'm actually so happy for Cleveland because you guys got the quarterback you guys deserve. Like, imagine if you guys got him back in 2015. That 0-16 season, you know, it probably would have been okay because Winston is so entertaining and you want to cheer for him. Like, I don't care if you guys lose every single game, you know, and I'm speaking on behalf of a friend who is a Browns fan where it's like they just love Winston. They love that he's going out there and giving his all. He's giving you guys opportunity to feel like we can win this game. And look at last week in the snow when everything is against you.
Yes.
You won the game.
That was the happiest 3-8. I felt like I won a playoff game. Like, it's 3-8. There's no playoffs. You beat your arch rival. You're able to get that. And the thing is, what I love about Jameis too, as a quick side note, is like anytime he starts talking, I figure like he has a vague destination of where he wants to get. He has no idea how he's going to get there, but he just starts talking. I'm like, I don't know what he's saying, but I'm believing it. Let's go.
And I'm charged up. I'm buying tickets. I'm tailgating. I'm buying your jersey. Like this is the guy that they needed all those years back, bro. 2015, he should have been a Brown. Like he would have carried you guys to so many like 3-8 game types of what you guys did last week. You know what I mean? Like that's what we want. That's entertainment. That's football, man. And he's all about it.
A lot better than during those years. Not to dwell on that because I've lived through those and have nightmares still. We once had to start the year. LaQuan, we had to start the year where we had 3 quarterbacks on the roster. None had won an NFL game. Cody Kessler.
Oh, Kessler.
Yeah.
Was it? Oh, what was the
Cody?
other?
Oh, there's a bunch. There was Kevin Hogan. He was dabbling in there. We had the other Deshaun instead of Deshaun.
Deshaun, yes, that's who I was thinking about.
We got Kaiser.
Kaiser. Oh,
we got Kaiser. And their famous play was Hugh Jackson's play of, I'll never forget it, flea flicker from his own end zone into triple coverage, and it's intercepted. I'll never forget.
Nice. That is
horrible.
No.
Oh my God. Hey, you know what with Jameis Winston? He's made, because of the dark cloud that has been over this organization with Deshaun Watson. Let's be real. Jameis Winston has made it fun. Like Flacco last year. It's like, as a Browns fan, I'm watching, like, NFL's supposed to be entertaining. I'm supposed to be entertained. I'm having fun watching instead of being like, can I cheer loud because of Deshaun's there? Oh man, I don't know. And then he stinks too. That doesn't help.
Yeah.
So
it's at least with Winston, like when he's throwing the ball and like when that ball hangs in the air, there's a chance somebody catches that. So there's the excitement in that. So it's like,
we don't know who.
We don't know who. Somebody is down there and they're going to catch it. And it's Mike Evans, but in a Browns uniform. Like, it's crazy to watch his film because, like, sometimes you sit back and watch him, like, especially last game in the snow. You're like, he wouldn't throw that. He's not going to throw that. That's not going to get completed. And then Jerry Jeudy is wide open, dead center of the field. And it's like,
phenomenal. Jerry Jeudy has really come. Well, you know what? For Jameis Winston, I'm thinking, the odd game, like, funny enough, in the 4 games he started, 2 of which he was phenomenal fantasy-wise, 2 of which not so much. That Denver defense, even if you're desperate, we're shying away on Jameis for fantasy. Is that fair?
Fantasy, we're shying away, but you give me Jerry Jeudy every single day of the week for the rest of the season. And I say this because I don't think Denver has faced an offense as aggressive and non-caring about the turnovers. Like I will play, Denver's DST, but Winston goes out there and throws out 2 picks. He might have 4 touchdowns, and this may be the out of nowhere performance that Winston has every now and again. And I give praise to you guys. Like, you guys deserve this quarterback. This is what you guys deserve to have. And like, for fantasy, I'm not shying away from Elijah Moore. Cedric Tillman's out. I'm not shying away from David Njoku. Like, Winston makes us fantasy managers and Browns fans like confident in him to where, like, you know what? Screw it. He's proven so many people wrong at this point. He's supporting 4 options right now. You got David Njoku, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, and Cedric Tillman, all averaging double-digit fantasy points since he's became the starter. That is unheard of. With safe floors, like the lowest is, I think it's David Njoku, or no, it's Elijah Moore with 11 fantasy points per game since week 8. And like, that's beautiful as my flex. And we just talked about it. I just need 10, bro. I need 10 points. That's the floor.
Just give me 10. Just give me 10. I actually love that. And you know what? That's what is so infuriating to Browns fans. We saw it last year with Flacco, even with PJ freaking Walker last year.
PJ,
PJ, you're not even in the league, but PJ was winning game.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. And now with Jameis Winston, LaQuan, anybody except Deshaun Watson, anybody not named Deshaun Watson can make these receivers produce, and anybody not named Deshaun Watson can win the Browns games. That's what's so infuriating to fans.
Yeah.
It's like what? You have all this money. He has to be, to my, like, from your perspective here. And I'll tell you, I was at the game in Cleveland when they played Cincinnati when he went down. Okay. When he went down, how he was booed out of that tunnel, coming out, not on the field, but coming out of the tunnel. You cannot trot Deshaun Watson out at a home game ever again. You can't.
No, you can't.
It's poison.
You guys got to eat that dead money and have fun with Jameis Winston.
I'm hoping though. My worry is Jameis is playing too good, and because he's on $4.5 million, he's going to be getting 6, 7. We can't afford him then because of Deshaun's money.
That is true. You can't afford him, but you got to make something work. You can't
find a way.
Let Winston walk out of that door. If you want to keep fans engaged, you want to keep people watching Browns games, going to Browns games, you sign Jameis Winston for the next 3 years. And I say 3 years because in that time, you can eat all that Deshaun Watson, cap, all that dead money. It's going to suck, but you got to eat it. But in that time, you can still look for a quarterback. I mean, guys that, some of these other teams are giving up on. I mean, Zach Wilson is a name that I've thrown out there, but he found a job immediately after being released with Denver. You know what I mean? Like, that could be a situation that the Browns can do. Daniel Jones. Like, these names like Bryce Young, but Bryce is on the up and Will Levis is on the up. Those were the pocketed tier guys that possibly could have been options, but Winston should not leave the building after this season.
Boy, I'm for what I've seen so far, I'm totally with you. And for Jerry Jeudy, it was like a light switch. Yeah. And for fantasy owners who are holding on, and let's face it, Jeudy was unplayable for a lot of the year. Yeah. Unplayable. Now he did have some okay lower end double digit numbers, but you couldn't count on
work for that. He had to work for that. Yeah.
Yes, that was earned. So, but now he's popping and he's going. So we're liking that. But let's talk about their opponents on Monday, the Denver Broncos. Yeah. I got to say, Bo Nix, for a guy who was like, all right. This dude's you can play him on your fantasy. You can start Bo Nix. Oh, yeah.
I haven't sat Bo Nix in like 4 weeks. Like, it's been a month of straight of where it's Bo Nix. Like, the only reason why I feel like he's startable is because of his ability with his legs, him extending the plays, him rolling out, him kind of having that confidence behind him, like he has a year under his belt to make the throws that he's making to Cortland Sutton, to even little Jordan Humphrey, and then my guy, Devon Vele. So it's like, these are guys that are really not nobodies, but guys that are like just guys on the roster, but they're producing in fantasy. You look at Vele. I mean, in the games that he played this season with over 50% of snaps, it's double-digit fantasy points. And you're like, who is this guy? Who is this older 27, 28-year-old, 6'5", wide receiver? But Bo Nix, the way he's playing, he's able to command this offense and find productivity within these young and older, wide receivers. And he's bringing Cortland Sutton back to life to be that wide receiver 2 for fantasy that we just absolutely just needed. Like, we were like dying for. Our dynasty managers were like, yo, this might be the end of the line for Sutton. But he's back.
It was looking like it. And I wanted to bring up Devon Vele there for the Broncos because, this name just was kind of out of the way and came out of nowhere. 5% rostered. Is this a must-add this week to you?
Listen, that 5% got to be about me and my couple of leagues because I've been talking about this guy for the last couple of weeks.
You've been pumping him up.
I've been pumping him up just because of look, Bo Nix, we know he's not going to air it out a ton, but everything close to the line of scrimmage, that's where Vele was living. Like that one game, he had 8 targets, 8 catches. And it's like, how did he do that? Like, what? But you look at it's all short routes. It's all close to the line of scrimmage. And the good thing about Vele, he might be 6'5", but this guy can create after the catch. He also has a catch radius it's up there. I'm not going to say it's top tier, but there's something there. You keep working this guy, you keep giving him reps, and if Bo keeps giving him the chances, boy, we could have a problem in Denver. They're good now. Just wait until next year.
Yeah, you know what? I think Denver and the Chargers next year, that AFC West, outside of the Raiders, sneakily could be one of the toughest divisions in football because the Chiefs, obviously, but especially the Chargers, how well they're coached and how well they've been brought along. I don't know if it'll be next year, but I can. So can you feel the switch coming a little bit with Kansas City? Maybe.
Yeah, I can feel it just slightly. It's right. The dial it's going because when you look at how the Chargers are playing now versus last year, because a couple years ago they were a good team. They just weren't a great team. They were
terribly coached.
Beating themselves, terribly coached, where coaching matters. And you see these guys, how they're playing for them. And the adjustment after the bye, we were seeing that they were a run-heavy offense. Justin wasn't throwing the ball that much. But the bye-week adjustment to look in the mirror all right, we're a better team than this. Let's go out there and start throwing the rock. You got Justin Herbert throwing the ball 30 times a game now. And it's okay, I'm all in.
I'm here.
You got QJ leading the team in touchdowns. You got Justin Herbert running again. You got J.K. Dobbins with a resurge of a career. And it's coaching matters. So for fantasy, for dynasty, whatever platform or any format that you're playing on, it's the Chargers are a real team you want to start investing in because Harbaugh, he's not going anywhere. Start investing in Vele. Start investing in, QJ if you want to take that risk, Quentin Johnston, if you want to go out there and, have the headaches every Sunday because just saw what he did on Monday dropping those passes, man.
He got me right here. Look, what? Yeah. Right? No points. Nothing. I lost my week in one of my leagues by 2 fantasy points. That's one catch in 10 yards and I win.
Well, I lost my fantasy week that really sucked because I lost by 1 point and J.K. Dobbins was his last player to play. And I go check. I'm like, oh, no. Then I'm like, oh, no. Jesus, I lost.
Jeez.
But, sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles. That's why we play this game.
Man. Let's finish you off with this one here. You cover the Rams, of course, with the Sick Podcast. They're playing the Saints in New Orleans. Now, I got to give you a heads up, my friend. Watch out for this fantasy bastard Taysom Hill. All right. He screwed 48 fantasy points when he played us. I don't know what the heck they're doing. Then they go on the bye. I don't know what Coach Rizzi, he's talking about plugging toilets up before games. It's a madhouse in New Orleans. It's crazy. That's a real thing he said. And then they win.
The Rizzler.
He's great. It's an absolute madhouse. They have nothing to lose. Your Rams now going in 5-6 and right on that, that NFC West, it's still wide open. But it's 5-6. Where just big picture wise for the Rams, you feel the talent is there. What's missing? Is it the defensive side? What's sort of holding them back?
So I think more so what the excuse was, and I say excuse because at this point, after seeing what they did, Sunday night, I kind of sour about it still. But the O-line is one of the biggest issues. You got guys that haven't had much football under their belts, this season. Some guys coming in week 7, week 8. We're at week 13 at this point, and some guys are still not back from injury, like Rob Havenstein. So with that happening, this O-line is not really in sync with the projected 5, that we had in the start of OTAs. So it's like these guys are looking to their left and right. These are different guys. We look to your left and right. This guy just got here. This is his second game. Bo Limmer, he's been holding it down as a rookie, stepping up, at that center. And Jonah Jackson, again, he's coming off an injury. He does not have much football under his belt right now to where this affects Matthew Stafford. This affects Kyron Williams. This affects the offense being productive to go down there. This affects third down. It affects red zone. Everything trickles down when that O-line is not right. And now we're trying to play catch up, and we're facing teams like the Eagles who are already established as a powerhouse team.
They're rolling.
They're rolling. We're still trying to get rolling. Like, we're rolling, but we're not.
Yeah. It's a slow roll. It's like the snowball. It's like the snowball's too big now. It's like you're pushing it. It's a big snowball.
Exactly.
But you know what? Fantasy wise, if we take away real life and we're looking fantasy, one of the better teams. We're looking with Cooper Kupp. Yes, please. Puka Nacua. Yup. Kyron Williams. Okay. Matt Stafford, fantasy wise, not so much. But and even once in a while, and when there was injuries earlier in the year, Demarcus Robinson.
Demarcus Robinson might have a long year. He just got caught up with some off-field issues, So.
Oh, did he? Oh, I didn't see that. Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh, boy. He might have.
They got him.
Go pick up Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell is back in conversation.
I'm gonna get Tutu. Okay. Is he going to be suspended, Demarcus Robinson? Is he going to be?
Man, I don't know. I don't know, man. That's one of those situations where I look at the culture of the Rams. It's a we not me situation. You look at that situation, what it was. It's kind of selfish, and that affects the team. That affects, guys that have been working their asses off, in summer that want the opportunity to be the wide receiver 3, and you're kind of just throwing it out there. Like Tutu Atwell, for example, we spent a second-round draft pick on him, man. Like he's been working his ass off. So it's like I'd rather him get this job now than somebody that's affecting the team, because he's definitely crucial to the offense as the wide receiver 3. Like last season, he leads the wide receivers in end zone targets. So it's like he's a plug and piece of why we're so effective and lethal in the red zone. So him doing this is like, all right, now we have to figure out how to handle this while we're dealing with injuries, while the O-line is not in sync. Kyron Williams not looking as effective, efficient.
Yeah. You're chasing a division.
There's so much things bigger than doing that.
Right. And you know what, Tutu, because sometimes it's a case where we talk about handcuffs, like, oh, if player A gets a chance, we hope they'll do this. Tutu's done it. Like he was balling last year. Him and Puka. It was like the best, most fun names to say. We got Puka and Tutu running around, doing their thing. They're creating fantasy havoc. It was tremendous. Yeah. So okay, you know what? So maybe Tutu Atwell, little under the radar ad. Keep Parkham.
Oh yeah, we're gonna we keep that on the hush, because that is a ad that I feel as though you have to be patient with. Like don't get all in your feelings. It's second quarter going to the half. He has no points. The second half adjustments. He's a guy that gets his points in chunks because he's the guy that's going to stretch the field. He's quick. He's elusive as well. Matthew Stafford, when he's desperate and he needs a big play, he's going to Tutu. Believe it or not, he's the guy that's always forgotten.
I love it. Okay, so there you go, folks. There's a little get a little Tutu in your lineup too. A little Tutu in your life. We're good. LaQuan, man, this is great. Let's have you on again soon. This was a lot of fun. Tell people though where they can find you, read you, see you, follow you, all that stuff.
Word. You guys can find me at Real Deal Fantasy on all social media platforms, and also at NFL Network for the NFL Fantasy Show. We shoot every single Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, where you guys can find the podcast and episode, obviously, on the NFL YouTube channel. And you guys can find me on YouTube as well at rotoballer.com, where all my fantasy content lives and breathes there.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, my friend. Let's do it. This was a ton of fun. Let's do it again soon.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, man, you got my jack. Hit me back, and we on it, man.
Let's go. All right. Talk to you soon. There he goes, LaQuan Jones from NFL Network and right here in the Sick Podcast. There's some I hope you're paying attention, kids. All right. If you missed part of or you weren't paying, rewind and make sure you're hearing what LaQuan and I are talking about. And also make sure you are getting yourself some stadium mustard. I know it's Thanksgiving, but look, there's leftovers. Guess what goes good? A nice turkey deli sandwich. How about some stadium mustard? I actually had that the other day. I had turkey and ham combo. Stadium mustard on it. Boom. Toast up a sandwich. Whatever you need. From ballparks to backyards and everywhere in between, Stadium Mustard is a smooth but spicy mustard, rich in taste and tradition. Stadium Mustard is real and organic, not manufactured. You can get it at Cleveland Brown Stadium. You can get it all throughout Ohio, all throughout America. And, hey, in Canada too, wherever it ships. Check it out, though. Stadium Mustard. And we're going to be giving away at some point soon. Again, we already gave one away a couple weeks ago. Another Stadium Mustard shirt. So keep your eyes out. That's why you're going to follow at SickPod Browns, at Andy MC81 on X, and at Andy MC Sports on Instagram and TikTok. Okay. So we're good for fantasy. If you got any other fantasy questions, remember, hashtag Ask Andy on all social, what I just said. You can jump on the show. We're going to be live Sunday morning as well, 10 a.m. Eastern. Don't forget about that. But also, what goes along with fantasy perfectly, along with Stadium Mustard, is some sports bets. Specifically, sick picks.
It's time for Sick Picks. Brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours.
There you go. So what we're going to do is a bit of a Thanksgiving special, an early Thanksgiving special for our sick picks. So let's look at the games. We got Detroit Lions hosting the Chicago Bears. Detroit now the problem is the straight money line for a bunch of these games isn't great. So we're going to have to hope that the Detroit Lions can punk the Bears for 10.5, and they're rolling. I think they can do it. Although I do like the new offensive coordinator, what they've been able to sort of jive out. Might be a bit rich. I think the Lions make a statement national TV. They are absolutely cruising. Then we go Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants. Are we going to see? Are the Giants going to roll out Tommy DeVito again? Like, if you do, they're definitely tanking. Because Drew Lock could probably come in and at least give you a real shot to win that game. So it depends. I don't think, though, in the end, it's in Big D. Give me the Cowboys money line, minus 194. We're going to take that. Then Green Bay Packers hosting the Miami Dolphins at night. We know Miami doesn't like the cold. It's the sun's down in Green Bay at Lambeau at the end of November. Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers at 3.5. Plus, we'll get an early look. Browns, 5.5-point dogs in Denver. I don't think they'll win the game because it's a house of horrors, but do I think they can hang around? I do. We're going to take the Browns to cover that 5.5. We're going to put $10 on that. That gives us $104.59. How about that? Also, a little bonus on a futures bet. I saw this. I mentioned this on my social media on Monday. Was Myles Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year? Now it's fluctuating. Plus 1,700. So check that out on the DraftKings Sportsbook too. Might, adjust could be plus 16, plus 17, whatever. But plus 1,700. He's like the sixth favorite to win. Why? Remember this. And you might think, he had one big game against Pittsburgh, 3 sacks. No. He had another big game earlier with 3 sacks. And last year, a large part from people I know who vote on this thing said a large part for Myles Garrett winning the award went down to that game in Indianapolis. Remember when they beat Gardner Minshew and Myles Garrett leapfrogged over the line to smack down that field goal, right? And had a bunch of sacks too. That caught people's attention. The game against the Steelers caught people's attention. Now, he can't lay an egg, but he's 1 sack behind Troy Hendrickson of the Bengals. TJ Watt's still crying over there. What a dummy. You antagonize Myles Garrett? Idiot. That's fine. Fine by me. Please do. Please continue. And George Pickens, keep running your mouth because we'll see you in a couple weeks, buddy boy. Then we'll get you in Pittsburgh. That's another house of horrors. Oof. We'll worry about that. We're still feeling good about that. We'll worry about that. But I'm gonna put a few bucks down on Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year. If he gets a couple more games, especially if he leads the league, if he can lead the league or at least be like within 1 of the sack leader, he could win this again. And you can get in on that now at that price. That's sensational. I love that. So those are the sick picks there. And we have to remember, it's Thanksgiving, which means Christmas and the holidays are coming up. So are you getting some holiday shopping done this weekend? Well, why don't you pick up some touchdowns? Get some touchdowns. They're on sale at DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings has doorbuster profit boosts and bet one, get one promotions. All types of touchdown bets. You got to get in on this. Grab some touchdowns with DraftKings Sportsbook. They're on sale from Thanksgiving Day through Cyber Monday. I have to go do that myself. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 6sports to opt in. That's code 6sports only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
There you go, kids. So we got some bets. We got your fantasy set up. Remember, waiver wires. You're putting it out there and set those lineups. There's a lot. You don't want to be lazy. The action starts at 12:30 Eastern. Okay, so you got to make sure you get those fantasy lineups set and in. Any other questions? Get me on social. Hashtag Ask Andy for Fantasy for betting. Let me know your best bets. Let me know your fantasy plays too. At SickPodBrowns, at AndyMC81 on X, at AndyMC81 on Instagram. Click subscribe, notifications on for the channel here on YouTube. So big thanks to LaQuan Jones of NFL Network and the Sick Media Network here. Of course, he's doing his own show with the Rams. Thank you to him. Thanks to producer Sammy, and thanks to all of you. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy all the games, and I'll see you Sunday live, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. And even though they're not playing, go Browns!
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.